BTS News Today. The night was supposed to be simple. A late Tower Weverse live, unannounced yet somehow anticipated, the kind that sends notifications rippling across the world within seconds. When Jin, Taehyung and Jungkook appeared together on screen, relaxed and visibly comfortable, the global reaction was instant and explosive. Millions tuned in not because there was an official schedule or promotional promise, but because moments like these had become rare, precious, and emotionally loaded. Three members of BTS sitting together in a quiet room, speaking freely, laughing without choreography, looking less like global superstars and more like brothers who had finally found a pause in time. But as the live broadcast continued, something subtle shifted. It wasn't obvious at first. There was no abrupt cut, no visible argument, no raised voices. Yet by the time the live ended, social media was already vibrating with a single unsettling question. Why did it feel like something went wrong? Within hours, whispers grew louder, pointing toward a surprising name at the center of the tension, Shi Hyuk. By morning, headlines were no longer asking whether something happened, but what exactly had happened. The live began innocently enough. Jin greeted viewers with his familiar warmth, his voice steady and reassuring, the kind that instantly grounded armies who had been waiting all day. Taehyung leaned back casually, his expressions unreadable but his presence heavy, as if he carried thoughts he hadn't yet decided to release. Jungkook, quieter than usual at first, listened more than he spoke, nodding, smiling faintly, occasionally glancing off camera, as if checking something only he could see. Fans noticed details immediately. Jungkook's tone lacked its usual playful energy. Taehyung chose his words carefully, sometimes stopping mid-sentence and laughing it off. Jin, usually the most fearless speaker during lives, seemed oddly cautious, redirecting conversations, smoothing over silences before they could stretch too long. None of it was dramatic on the surface, but ARMY has always been trained by years of observation to sense emotional undercurrents. Something was being held back. As the live progressed, the conversation drifted toward recent days, personal reflections, and the strange feeling of time passing differently now. Jin spoke about responsibility in a way that felt heavier than casual reflection. Taehyung mentioned creativity, freedom, and the pressure of expectations without naming their source. Jungkook, when finally speaking at length, delivered a sentence that instantly became the most clipped and replayed moment of the night. He talked about knowing when to stop talking, about understanding boundaries, about how sometimes silence was safer than honesty. The chat exploded. Within minutes, clips were circulating with captions speculating that Jungkook was hinting at internal restrictions. Taehyung's long pause after Jungkook's words was looped endlessly, slowed down, analyzed frame by frame. Jin's forced laugh, the way he leaned forward and changed the subject, became another piece of the puzzle fans were desperate to solve. Then came the ending. The live ended earlier than expected. No long goodbyes, no promises of see you soon, no playful resistance to logging off. Jin glanced off screen, nodded slightly, and said they should end it there. Taehyung waved quietly. Jungkook didn't say much at all. The screen went dark. That was when the theories began to multiply at an uncontrollable speed. By the time Asia woke up fully, the phrase Shi Hyuk warning was trending alongside their names. No official statement existed, yet the narrative formed almost organically, built from years of understanding the system BTS operates within. According to circulating accounts, the live had crossed an invisible line, not through scandalous behavior or explicit criticism, but through tone, implication, and emotional honesty that may have gone further than intended. Sources close to the situation, as described by industry insiders and echoed by multiple entertainment commentators, claimed that concerns were raised almost immediately after the broadcast. The issue was not that Jin, Taehyung, or Jungkook had done something wrong in a conventional sense, but that the live revealed too much humanity at a time when narratives were meant to remain carefully balanced. Their words, pauses, and silences invited interpretation, and interpretation can be dangerous in an industry built on control, timing, and long-term strategy. Shi Hyuk's name entered the conversation not as an antagonist, but as a symbol of authority. As the founder who had once famously trusted the boys with creative freedom, his involvement suggested the seriousness of the situation. Reports suggested that a private communication took place, not public, not dramatic, but firm. A reminder of responsibility, of impact, of how even a casual sentence spoken late at night could ripple across markets, media, and millions of hearts. What made fans uneasy was not the idea of guidance itself, but the contrast between the BTS of the past and the present moment. For years, BTS had been praised for authenticity, for speaking honestly about pressure, fear, and doubt. Lives like this once felt like safe spaces. The possibility that those spaces were shrinking hit hard. Jin's role in the live quickly became a focal point. As the eldest, as someone often seen as the emotional buffer, many believed he sensed the risk before it fully materialized. His constant redirection, his jokes that landed a little too quickly, his decision to end the live abruptly, all of it painted a picture of someone protecting not only the group, but the moment itself. Fans began to praise him not just as a Hyung, but as a shield. Taehyung's silence, however, unsettled people the most. Known for speaking in metaphors, for expressing himself through emotion rather than explanation, his demeanor that night felt restrained in a way that contrasted sharply with his usual openness. When he talked about art feeling watched instead of felt, many believed it was more than poetic language. It sounded like frustration dressed in beauty. Jungkook, as always, stood at the emotional center of the storm. His words carried weight because of his history of honesty. When he spoke about knowing when to stop, fans remembered past lives where he cried openly, where he admitted fear and exhaustion without filters. The difference now was stark. This Jungkook was measured, cautious, almost guarded. The idea that someone had later reminded him why that caution was necessary only deepened the sadness. Despite the storm of speculation, one thing became clear: there was no visible fracture between the members themselves. If anything, the live revealed unity. They moved as one, adjusted as one, and ended together. Any warning given, according to insiders, was addressed collectively, not targeted. This distinction mattered to fans who feared internal conflict more than external pressure. HYBE remained silent as expected. Silence in this context spoke volumes. No denial, no clarification, no confirmation, just quiet. For a fandom that has learned to read between official lines, that quiet felt deliberate. As the day went on, respected commentators urged caution, reminding fans that guidance within a company does not automatically equal punishment, and that Shi Hyuk's history with BTS has often involved protection rather than suppression. Yet the emotional response couldn't be contained by logic alone. The live had touched something raw. It reminded people why they fell in love with BTS in the first place, and why the idea of those moments being limited felt painful. By nightfall, the narrative had evolved again. Instead of anger, a softer determination emerged. Fans began sharing messages of support, emphasizing trust in the members, faith in their bond, and hope that honesty would never fully disappear, even if it had to be expressed more carefully. In the end, what happened that night may never be officially explained. Perhaps it doesn't need to be. The live became a mirror reflecting the complicated reality of being human under a global spotlight. Jin, Taehyung, and Jungkook didn't break rules, they revealed emotion. And in an industry where emotion is both the product and the risk, that revelation alone was enough to spark a warning. What remains undeniable is this: even under caution, even under pressure, their connection reached millions. Even in restraint, their truth slipped through the cracks. And perhaps that is why the moment mattered so much. Not because of a warning that followed, but because of the honesty that came before it.
Give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me